So the Battle Angel Alita manga is like really awesome. It's got, great battles, great characters, awesome art. One thing that might get overlooked though is the in-series world, which doesn't necessarily get a crazy amount of attention and detail, but the things we do know paint a really interesting picture. And as a sort of little stopgap between my last video and the one I'm working on right now, I thought I'd break down the kind of chronological political history of the in-series world in Battle Angel Alita, because it's really interesting. I mean, nobody asked for it, nobody cares, but I'm going to make it because I think it would be cool to make a video on it. So before we start, obviously this is spoiler free, so I'm not going to spoil the results of battles, major plot twists, or anything like that. This is kind of just basically the lore, you know what I mean? And obviously you can still read Battle Angel Alita if you haven't read it already, while knowing this information. In this world, most of history went on as usual, but in the background there was a shadow virus creating classes of immortal beings, but these people were few and far between, so history mostly just chugged along as we know it. However, the early 2000s led to a major technological divergence from our own world, and as early as 2009, humans began to settle on Mars. Unfortunately, these feats would come to a screeching halt when in 2011 an asteroid impact destroyed most of the Earth. The world goes into a state similar to that of a nuclear winter, but this is called an impact winter. Many newly mutated people fight among themselves in the remnants of the Earth. But during this time, humanity's remnants establish a society around the former Kansas City, now named Star City. The city flourished and an orbital elevator was under construction, supposedly connecting the Earth to high-up cities in the sky and in space, and eventually this would result in resettlements on Mars and other lunar colonies. During the elevator's construction, Star City's relationship with the upper cities, Catheris and Tifares, and a civil war was upon the people of the Earth. The war ended up turning Star City into effectively a scrapyard, serving no other purpose but to feed the upper cities, while also serving as a waste dump. After this civil war, emigration to other planets continued as colonies on Jupiter and Venus followed those on Mars. Venus would go on to declare independence in the year 2206, followed shortly by Jupiter. The Earth, in response, formed its own nation, the Earth Orbitary Federation, consisting of Star City, Catheris, Tifares, and the nearby lunar colonies. On Mars, however, numerous competing factions vied for control to be the recognized Martian government. The ease of travel to Mars, its relatively hospitable climate, and elements of overpopulation made it a hotspot of political intrigue and factionalism, as competing interests fought for control. Meanwhile, the space and resources needed to terraform the solar system became a point of contention among the Republic Venice, the Earth Orbitary Federation, and the Jupiter System Union. Venus and Earth formed an alliance and turned their attention on Jupiter, in what is known as the brutal terraforming wars, involving every known planet at the time. Of course, the major powers used Mars as a proxy battleground as well during these wars, and each formed their own factions and alliances to try and maintain control on Mars, extract resources, and bolster their own forces. The most notable alliance on Mars was that of Jupiter with an elite Martian martial arts order known as Grunthal. The members of Grunthal practiced a complex fighting style called Panzer Cursed, suited for zero gravity and other inhospitable battlefield conditions. This seemed to have somewhat evened the odds in the war and only added to the carnage. That war would end in a stalemate with the majority of the status quo maintained, save for the Earth's drastic reduction in power and capability as a result of this war. Jupiter and Venus remained as domineering powers, and Mars remained a political battleground. And the end of the war led to the formation of Ladder, a sort of United Nations-esque organization interested in peacekeeping and maintaining planetary order. The post-war world saw further advancements in technology. Venus became a hotbed of bioengineering, and Jupiter a haven for technology and AI. A major planet-wide sporting event known as the Zenith of Things Tournament began to be held. Somewhat akin to a World Cup-like atmosphere, this is a martial arts tournament fielding squads of fighters from different planets, and even at times, private teams with no formal affiliations to a nation. It is seen as not only a cultural marvel, but a crucial peacekeeping element of society. Despite the peace and advancement elsewhere, trouble continued on Mars. Fighting continued between four major factions on the planet. The latter recognized monarchy, known as the Mars Kingdom Parliament, is engaged in a brutal struggle for control with the Mars Republic here, a Venus-allied government. The Mars Front de Befrain, a Jupiter-allied government, and the Neo-Third Reich Division, a Nazi revivalist faction independent of the major powers, whose aim is to unify Mars and create a Martian empire instead. This is the state of the world when the Battle Angel Alita story starts. Technology has advanced to currently unfathomable levels, and the solar system is interconnected, but the major powers of Venus, Jupiter, and Ladder maneuver to gain control, while Mars remains a bitterly divided planet with a lot of competing interests. So yeah, that's my breakdown of the lore of this series. Definitely give this a read. It's freaking awesome. And for those who give a damn, my anime and manga culture in video, my next one is currently in the works. Thanks for watching if you made it this far, and have a great day.